weight loss, the standard advice is to move more and eat less, right? If only it were that simple. What's up? Hey, a few years back, I lost 20 pounds of stubborn fat, and since then, I have kept it off. Now, at the start of my weight loss journey, I shared that I was getting more into running, that I was really starting to love running, and so naturally, this led to a lot of questions. Was it the running that was helping me lose weight? Was there something else going on? Long story short, there were other things going on. I've got videos on them, so I'll link those videos down below. But I realized I've never made a video specifically addressing running as a way to lose weight. So today we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about what I tried, where I went wrong, what I learned, what I recommend if you would like to include running as part of your weight loss journey. As a disclaimer, this will be a two-part video. This is part 1 of 2. Part 2 will be coming out soon, probably within the next week. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of science. There's a lot of experience. There's a lot I wanna share to help you avoid, hopefully help avoid, making the same mistakes that I made. Before I get into it, I want to say a huge thank you to Built Bar for partnering with me on today's video. Built Bar has protein bars in 18 different flavors, all coated in real chocolate, all under 200 calories, packed with protein. Protein plays a huge role in both running and weight loss goals. Not only is it gonna help you with your recovery, making sure you can show up consistently for your workouts, but it's also gonna help keep you feeling fuller longer. So I will put a link in the description box down below to save 10% off your next Built Bar order, whether it's your first time ordering or you're ordering again, restocking, stocking up on stuff. I'd appreciate if you click the link, if you check them out. Otherwise, if you're ready to get started, make sure to shoot me a thumbs up and let's get into it. The part of my weight loss journey I don't often talk about is when I was doing all the things to lose weight, but not losing weight. To give you some context, I gained a lot of weight very quickly, and when I clued into that, I freaked out. Hi, just gonna jump in here to make it crystal clear that there is nothing wrong with this body. If you are looking at these pictures trying to figure out how you stack up compared to the before, the after, the current, the present, the past, that is not the point. One body is not better than the other. The real problem was my mindset. When I went through this period of rapid weight gain, I was going through a very challenging time mentally. So not only was I not taking care of myself, I would actually say I was doing the opposite of that. I was behaving in a destructive way. I was acting very impulsively, which is out of character for me. Add to that the fact that I went through what felt like a very fast body transformation, and then all of a sudden, when I looked in the mirror, when I looked at my life, I didn't recognize what I was seeing. And so against my better judgment, I looked for a quick fix. I wanted to feel like me again, so I was willing to try some pretty crazy things. Bit more context, in order to lose weight, you need to be at an energy deficit. Note, a calorie is just a unit of energy. Just like how an inch or a foot is a unit of distance, I will use energy deficit and calorie deficit interchangeably. So in order to lose weight, you need to be consuming, taking in less calories or less energy than you are burning. If you can do that, you will lose weight. This relationship is better explained by the energy balance equation, where on the energy inside, you have all energy coming in via food and drink. And on the energy outside, you have BMR, or basal metabolic rate, the amount of energy you burn just sitting, breathing, and existing, TEF, or thermic effect of food, energy burned breaking down and digesting food, TEA, or thermic effective activity, energy burned through structured or conscious exercise, think your cardio, weightlifting, spin class, things of that nature, and NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, unintentional or spontaneous activity, physical activity you do without the express purpose of it being for exercise. This explains why the standard weight loss advice is to move more and eat less. You make one side bigger, one side smaller, so you can achieve an energy deficit. I stocked up on all the bland essentials, I cut calories, hadn't worked out regularly up until this point, but yeehaw! So I completely changed my training style from slow strength training to all intervals all the time. And I started running every single day. There was no rhyme or reason to what I was doing beyond burning calories. The more calories I burned, the better, which made running kind of perfect. It was the fastest, hardest, most punishing way to burn a lot of calories because that is what I was doing. I was punishing myself. Now you'd think with all this, I had to be losing weight, right? No. Problem was, I couldn't stick with it. I would be so burnt out by the end of the week that I would give in, I would give up, I would eat all the calories back and then some, and then the cycle would repeat, except each time by the grace of the logic of my dieted brain, I was like, you know what? You know what worked well last time? Moving more and eating less. Let's do it again. You ate too many calories. Let's just woohoo. But I really felt like, what the heck? I'm trying to move more. I'm trying to eat less. But when I move more, I feel like I need to eat more. But when I eat more, then I feel like I need to move more, which takes us back to square one. So let's talk science. When you make changes to one or both sides of the energy balance equation, those do not exist in isolation. Your body knows. A 2018 research review looked at the relationship between physical activity and the different mechanisms of appetite control. What they found was that at regular or moderate levels of physical activity, appetite control was regulated. Increasing physical activity increased energy expenditure, which in turn increased hunger as well as post-meal satisfaction, allowing internal hunger and fullness cues to be good predictors of energy needs. The relationship between physical activity and energy intake remains regulated within a certain range. However, as we begin to approach the extremes of physical activity, some funny things happen. At infrequent or low levels of physical activity, appetite control becomes dysregulated. Energy intake does not match energy expenditure. People eat too much, which often leads to weight gain. The relationship between physical activity and non-homeostatic or non-life sustaining appetite control is not entirely clear, though it's thought there may be a hormonal connection between higher levels of body fat, decreased physical activity, as well as a tendency to overeat more palatable, often higher calorie foods. At the other end of the spectrum, at very high levels of physical activity, appetite control remains regulated, but energy expenditure plateaus. This observation has been debated. It requires more research, though there's two proposed models. The additive model, which suggests the more physical activity you do, the more calories you burn, whereas the constrained model suggests that beyond a certain threshold of physical activity, other components of metabolism adapt to prevent you from burning too many calories overall. And so the constrained model suggests that physical activity may only be effective to a point for weight loss. Beyond that point, there would be a diminishing return where doing more activity is not necessarily going to lead you to burn more calories or lead you to lose more weight. Now, this is still all good and well, because if you're coming from a place of not doing a lot of activity, not being super active, and you want to add running into your routine, well, if you do that consistently, that's still going to improve your appetite control. It's still going to burn calories, and it's still going to make it easier to work towards your goals. We just don't want to go into those extremes. Shifting our focus to eating, I mentioned a hormonal connection between increased body fat, decreased activity levels, and a tendency to overeat. The common denominator here is a hormone called leptin. Think of leptin as an indicator of energy availability. This hormone talks to your hypothalamus, which can then trigger a series of changes throughout your body. When we lose fat, leptin goes down. When we eat less, leptin goes down. When we're stressed, leptin goes down. And to throw a real wrench in things, at higher levels of body fat, you may become less sensitive to leptin signaling, meaning your body may experience similar effects to as if leptin were decreased. The most notable consequences for weight loss are increased hunger hormones and decreased energy expenditure. So not only will hunger increase, but a large body of evidence from both human and rodent research suggests that the combination of eating less plus stress contributes to overeating more palatable, often higher calorie foods. As for energy expenditure, the area that experiences the most metabolic adaptation is NEAT. Similar to what we talked about with the constrained model for the relationship between physical activity and energy expenditure, your body will decrease unintentional movement in an attempt to avoid burning too many calories. Unpacking all of this, weight loss is not as simple as move more, eat less. I'm sure it is for some people, but if you're going into your weight loss journey with even like a hint, a smidgen of an all or nothing mindset, you gotta be honest with yourself. Like, you gotta know, hey, I probably am gonna take this to the extreme. I'm probably gonna try to move a lot more and eat a lot less. And if you do that, you're burning the candle at both ends. You're double dipping on willpower. You're tanking your leptin levels while wreaking havoc on your mental, hormonal, metabolic health. You know, there are certain changes that are unavoidable as part of weight loss. Leptin will go down. You will be hungry, probably some days at some point. Your metabolism will adapt, but none of these things should ever feel extreme. And if you can go into your weight loss journey with your eyes wide open, knowing what to expect, you can avoid the mistakes, the heartache that I experienced, and work smarter, not harder. So my advice, first things first, if you hate running, don't run. While running is a great way to burn a lot of calories quick, if you hate every second of it, it's not gonna stick. Running is a skill. So if you're going into this just looking at running as a tool to burn calories, you know, you can do however much you want to burn however many calories you need, rather than a skill you're actually committing to learn, chances are you're going to increase your run mileage faster than your fitness or your form can improve, greatly increasing your risk of injury as well as your risk of failing at this attempt at weight loss, which is super discouraging. So know that there are many other just as effective but lower impact ways to burn those calories. Now, if you are ready to commit to running as a skill, it's something you want to get better at while also working towards your weight loss goals, which, by the way, highly recommend getting an active hobby, even if it's not running. It's going to make your weight loss journey so much more enjoyable enjoyable and weight maintenance so much easier, but I'm gonna go against the move more, eat less advice. Forget about eat less, just focus on moving more. Whether you need to start with a brisk walk, run, a jog, rather than focusing on dieting, take this time to focus on your mindset, because with weight loss, we are in this for the long haul. If you wanna lose the weight and keep it off, now's the time to make those mental shifts. Stop reducing exercise to being about just burning calories. Start seeing it as an opportunity. Stop reducing yourself to just a body and start looking at yourself as an athlete. I know this might feel uncomfortable. I know this might feel like a label that you've never identified with. You've never felt like you maybe fit the mold of, especially if previous weight loss attempts have made you feel less than in your body. But that negativity is not going to benefit you on this journey. Based on the science, if you just start running, best case scenario, you lose some water weight right off the bat. Boom, motivating. You keep running. Over time, you're out of control. Hunger and cravings start to become more manageable. You stick with it. And lo and behold, because we haven't been on a crash diet, we actually have energy to maintain consistency because we're being more active, we're staying more active. We create that calorie deficit, and then we arrive at our weight loss goal without ever feeling like we dieted. This happens for some people. Now, on the flip side, some people gain weight when they start running. Don't freak out. It's probably not the running. It's probably not muscle gain. It's probably not anything physical. It's more than likely psychological. Most people assume they're working out harder than they actually are. This has been found true for both cardiovascular and strength-based exercise, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. When you first start running, there's so many new sensations that can increase the perceived difficulty of your run beyond what your activity tracker might be telling you. This is all good and well, but where we start running into issues is when we use the perception of doing a very hard run to justify eating a lot more than we normally would. While you don't necessarily have to diet, this goes back to those mental shifts we talked about. If you continue to reduce food and exercise to just the number of calories they're worth, if all you get from those is the caloric value, then that's going to keep you stuck in that cycle of checks and balances of having to earn and then burn your food. It's a scarcity mindset that doesn't let you ever enjoy food or exercise, and quite frankly, makes them both a bit irritating. If you're just starting running, don't worry about carb loading. Don't worry about the nutrition strategies you hear more advanced runners talking about. Keep it simple, because the reality is, if you keep eating exactly the way you are right now, even if it's not the perfect picture of health, if your energy in stays the same and you can consistently show up for your runs, show up for your activity, your energy out's going to go up. And guess what? That's going to create an energy deficit. You are going to lose weight. It's inevitable. It might not be the cookie cutter way or the standard way to do it, but it will work. At the very least, by not starting your weight loss journey with some crazy crash diet and just focusing on making movement a habit, your metabolism, your hormones, your hunger cues are going to be in a better place, so that if down the road you hit a plateau or you decide you do want to make some dietary changes, you are going to be that much better positioned to benefit from those changes. That is it for part 1 of this video. I'm like fired up after filming that. I'm so excited to film part 2. Part 2 is going to get into the later stages of my weight loss journey when I finally started to lose weight, which we kind of teased at a lot of the changes I made in this video, but we're going to talk about them in more depth and kind of show you pictures and stuff like that in the next one, as well as talk about how a calorie deficit impacts your running long term. So as you actually lose the weight, you get leaner, what impact does that have on performance, as well as talk about how I got to where I'm at now, where my running performance is improving. I've made so many improvements in so many ways since when I started without dieting, while maintaining my weight, and while actually eating more. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But after filming this video, I also feel like I'm just rambling right now. I'm thinking out loud. I feel like we need a how to start running video, a very practical, like point by point, how many runs should you do per week? How far should you run? Walk, run? What do we do? What if we can't breathe? So let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments down below. And also let me know, I have a bunch of questions for you. Did anything in this video surprise you? Is there any science that you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea? Is there anything that you have experienced that I talked about today? And most importantly, did this or did it not inspire you to run? Whether I talked you into or talked you out of it, let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.